guys, welcome back to another episode of PLXOutdoors with Bangsu. Today is episode 38, and I just wanted to share with you guys one of my secret favorite baits of all time, pretty much anywhere from mid-spring all the way through winter. So stick with me and I will be sharing with you one of the most shocking baits I think is on the market. So first and foremost, I'm going to say save your money. These baits are dirt cheap and you can find them pretty much anywhere, but these I found to be very productive and also easy on your pockets, and it's top water bite, so that's what everybody loves. And I'll go ahead and introduce them. They are Walmart $1 buzz baits, cheap and simple. These two still have the tags on them. So like I said, I got these from Walmart. They're $1 a piece, and from what I've seen in the past, my buddy Richard and I have done really well on them, and he's the one that has taught me to modify but also use these to catch good bass, big bass during all of spring, summer, fall, and into the winter. As long as that water temp is in that low 50s and higher, any time of the day, pretty much you can always count that there's a buzzbait bite somewhere. So stick with me, and I'll tell you guys how to modify and what I do, and hopefully you guys can do the same. Invest $1 into one of these and catch maybe your personal best. So cheap, easy, simple, and very productive on the lakes and rivers. So stick with me. Here we go. So this right here would be how I normally rig it. Basically it's just a stock buzzbait from Walmart. I add a trailer hook, add a little grub, change the skirt to whichever colors you want, and there you have it. Very easy, very simple. It's only $1, and it is tough and a fish catching machine. So like I said, anytime that water is in the 50s and higher, this is always a player, especially early morning and later in the evening. I would say the first hour at dawn and then the last hour at dusk. So bass are aggressive. They're looking up all the time and wanting to eat easy meal. So this is for them a perfect easy meal for them, looking for shad or bait fish or anything that they can just go ahead and grab easily. So the reason why I ended up buying a whole bunch of these is they work. I went on a trip once with my buddy Richard and he just tore them up. So I went to Walmart and I bought the whole shelf. Probably at least 10 of the white and then 10 or 12 of the chartreuse here. And so ever since then I'm stocked up, and you don't lose but maybe one a year. So no need to invest into those high dollar buzz baits. These work all year round, and it's proven. You can see the head here is all beat up. There's no more chartreuse on it, and it's straight lead. So as you can see, I changed the skirt from the white or chartreuse to this sexy shad color, and then I just added a little grub with the trailer hook, and it proves itself all the time. So something for you guys to look into and invest $1. I don't think you guys would be disappointed, for sure. I like the versatility of this bait just because very weedless, and it draws the fish from a long ways. It has a lot of calling power. Depending on how loud you want it, you can bend this blade right here to hit the head, and that'll make the clacking noise. If you don't want that, if you want something more subtle, just bend it back, and when it spins here, it won't hit the head, and it'll be very subtle, and it'll just kind of bubble and make little wakes, and that really attracts the fish for sure. So with calling the fish, we've caught them anywhere from a foot deep up to 5, 6 to 10 feet deep. Basically it's making noise, but also you can fish it slow, you can fish it medium pace or fast, burning it on top of the water. And every day is different. You know, fishing conditions are changing all the time, so you have to go out there and figure it out. This could be a $1 bait and could be the go-to bait, but if you're not in the right spots with the right cover and the right conditions, whether it be cloudy, sunny, you won't get bit, just because some days those fish are very picky. And if you've been fishing bass for long enough, you know that some days they want it a certain type of way, and some days they'll eat anything. So we're always looking for those great days where they're eating everything and anything you throw at them. But Majority of the days, the truth is they're very picky, and you have to go pick it apart, solve the puzzle, and try to get bites and take advantage of what you learned that whole day. Again, the best water temps I've seen is anywhere in the 50s all the way up to 80s, 90s during the hot summertime, and then back when the water drops into the 70s, 60s, and 50s and 40s back to wintertime. So basically you can throw it 3/4 of the year, and if you're lucky and you have warm winters, for sure this is a player, just because as those warm days hit winter, those fish will move up shallow, and sometimes they do get aggressive. You might just have to reel it a little bit slower, but they will chase and eat it. So where I like to fish these buzz baits or any kind of buzz baits is shallow flats, 5 feet or under. Those are really productive, especially if it's leading or having deep water nearby, or if you know where there's shelves and the shallow water meets the deep water. That's usually very, very productive, just because the fish are moving up to feed early and late in the day, and then they can move back out into the deep water and get away from traffic and pressure. And so those are 2 key areas I look for. If you have wood, stumps, laydowns, weed beds, big chunk rocks in your lakes or rivers, those are really good places to target the bass with these buzz baits as well, just because they're sitting in certain areas ambushing their prey. So if you can get your buzz bait here into those corners and little pockets, I'm pretty sure they'll come out and grab and swipe at it. So just a few key areas to target. You guys can go ahead and try different skirts, like I said, different colors, different trailers. I know some guys throw horny toads strictly on the back of their buzz bait, but whatever you feel confident with, you got to go with it. So key player for sure this here, $1 buzz bait. So my setup is I'm throwing a Falcon lowrider. It's a XD cranker. It's a pretty big, long rod, heavy rod. So it's a 7-foot 9-inch rod, and it's a heavy action, but it's mainly for cranking. So I use it because it has a soft tip, but it has a large, huge backbone, so that when I set the hook, I'm just go ahead and muscle these bass in. But just because it's the heavy action doesn't mean that it's a broomstick or heavy for my my hands and my arms throughout the day. I throw it continuously now. Over the years, I've gotten used to it, and it works really well with this lightweight. This is a 1/4 ounce buzz bait. So just fix your spools, fix your drag, fix your gear ratios on your spools, and I'm sure you guys will be able to throw accurately, but also make long bomb casts to cover whatever cover it is that you guys are fishing on your rivers and lakes. And then for the line, I'm using Suffix 832 braid again. Here I'm throwing 30-pound straight braid, and doesn't matter if you dye it black or chartreuse or any color. Again, like I said, they're looking up. This bait is always moving, it's never stopping, so they're either going to eat it or not. And if they do swipe at it, at least you'll know that, hey, there is fish following it. Maybe you can change the color or the trailer to help entice them to bite. So always changing things up, colors and retrieve speeds, stop and go, burning it, and especially the noise aspect of it. It really affects how the fish react to this bait. So, and then with the reel, my setup is a Daiwa Tatula type R. It's a 8:1 gear ratio, and it's a few year old reel, but it still really does the job. It's very fast, very strong, has very good drag, and so you want something a little bit quicker just so you can pick up the slack, especially if you're making a long cast, and then you don't have to really work so hard on the reel handles to catch up, and just slowly winding it. And then with the 7/9 rod, I don't have to really lift the rod so much just to catch up. All I have to do is just slowly lift, and then you can see your buzzbait just kind of climb up on the surface, and then you just start winding it however you want to do your retrieve, and it always works. So one of my biggest tips would be summertime, when everybody thinks it's super hot and no one wants to go out and it's nasty. You get sweaty and everybody gets hangry and moody just because of the heat and grogginess. I've seen that if you go to shady banks with chunk rock or any kind of cover, shady banks early morning or evening are #1 key points to hit. Anytime there's shade and the fish can just swim up and kind of cool out, chill out in those shady areas, those are killer times and locations to go after those bass. So along with that, if it's a shady small flat, or like I said earlier, deep shelves, but then also leading up to shallow shelves nearby with cover on it, always throw these and just kind of search and see what the fish are doing. You never know, any time of the day, as long as there's shadows, you can assume that there's a bass there hungry and lurking to eat something. So shaded areas for sure, those are key players, and I recommend you guys taking these $1 buzz baits and trying them. Okay guys, so just a few quick modification tips real quick before I sign out. Basically, you leave everything pretty much stock. This little rivet here where my thumb is right here, you do want to pinch this down with your pliers so that it stays put and it doesn't move up and down this shaft right here below the blade. So basically you want to make it stationary and not move, so that when your blade is running, it's always rubbing against that little rivet. And then here, I don't change anything at the tip of the head tip of the blade. I don't do anything or put any beads there or anything. I just let it free flow. Some guys like to scratch them up and score them to make more noise, but I've seen over the years that you can just leave it stock and it still does the job. Over time, you will see that this little hole here will start to increase. I don't know if you can see that, but it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger as it rubs against this rod right up here. And eventually it will fall off and just kind of, the hole will just keep enlarging itself. Just like down here, you can see that hole right there. It will still, or it will start to just keep enlarging itself, and then over time it'll just fully open, and then you'll just have to either put a new blade on, or else you'll just have to retie a new buzz bait. And for you guys who are throwing buzz baits, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I've ran through a few of these already through maybe a couple seasons, and that's throwing them every trip, and you're doing consistently hours and hours of running and gunning and just chucking winding. So the next tip would be, I do bend this arm here at a 90 degree, and the reason for that is that it's optional to make noise, because you want this blade here to clack against the head. Right now you can see that it's not clanking, it's just the blade making its noise by itself. But when I bend it down all the way, you can see it's touching barely on this head here, so the blade is barely touching it. And then when the water, when you're casting it out on the water and the prop starts to move, you'll hear it clacking. So I'll demonstrate that here. Right there. And that is what really calls them. And some days that's what they want, some days it's not. And the days that they don't want it, you can just bend this arm here back up a little bit so that it doesn't hit, and then it'll sound like this. So it'll buzz, it'll create bubbles, it'll just make a wake, but it won't clack. Sometimes the clacking is the key sound that attracts them, just kind of annoying them and kind of letting them locate the bait. Sometimes they do want that subtle bubbly noise with the little wake, and you know, you just have to go out there and try different things. And especially if you're around the right cover, they'll tell you what is the right retrieve and what the right setup is, because they'll either follow it, explode, or they'll swipe at it and you'll miss, and you'll know to either you need to tweak your colors or also make less noise or more noise. And then the last modification I make is just trailer hook with a little grub. Sometimes I go without the grub and just a regular skirt, or sometimes I do different color grubs just to kind of see what the fish are liking. Especially in clear water, I like this more natural sexy shad color, and just keep it more natural and white. Whereas in dirty water, I'll go to maybe a chartreuse or black and blue, and then use a black and blue or chartreuse grub on the trailer hook. And that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, you can try different things. Like I said, some guys throw horny toads on the back. I've seen that work really well. I just tend not to have confidence in that, and I just like it straight up like this, very simple. When I get to the lake or river, I just get my clacking either in tune or just keep it so that it doesn't clack, and then throughout the trip just keep adjusting, and dedicate yourself to a couple hours of this, and I think you guys will catch some bass. So overlooked, cheap, like I said, only $1, so you guys have no excuse but to go try it. I think you'll be very surprised, like I was, how many fish and how many big fish you'll catch with this, compared to 8, 10, 15, 20 bucks for one buzzbait from the big name companies. I don't think it's worth it, but this has proven itself, and it's a dumb looking lure, but you know, it works. Like I said, if it works, I'm gonna buy it. So I've learned in the past that if something works, you better get it, or else you're not gonna catch anything, because some days it's like that. It's a grind. Anyways, just a quick video. Hopefully it didn't take too long, but just wanted to share this quick secret tip and bait with you guys. Basically, just get out there, try different cover, try different depths, different trailers and sounds with it. I think you guys would be very satisfied. So again, thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys can get some of these $1 buzzbaits. Go try them. Let me know how you guys do, and what other modifications you guys make. Be sure to share, subscribe, like all the videos for us, and more stuff to come, guys. This is one of my secret baits. I kind of thought that maybe I didn't want to really release it, but you know, it's okay, because you still have to get out there on the water, and you still got to go find the right cover and water temp. And so it is a secret bait, and I'm willing to share it with you guys. So have fun with it, and be safe out there, guys. We will see you guys on the next episode. See ya.